Show your friends you support independent comics while showing the world who you back in the fight against the swarm with the brand new Cyberfrog t-shirt from Crypto Fashion and Comic Artist Pro Secret. Sizes come in small to 5XL, and take your choice of colors between navy blue, white, and black. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and order the Fandom Menace, Go Get Daddy's Belt, Tico, and Soilo t-shirts as well. Link is below in the description. You're going to look great. People love these shirts. They fit wonderfully. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, nobody ever regretted taking advice from CNN. Hello. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and thank you very much. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I'm a comic book artist. I have been for 25 years. I am the creator of the Smash Indiegogo campaign, Cyberfrog Blood Honey, that's going on right now. If you'd like to purchase a copy of my new comic book, Cyberfrog Blood Honey, the link is below in the description. I'm also the illustrator of Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and a great big Star Wars fan, a great big Darth Vader fan. Even when Darth Vader does narration for CNN, this is CNN. He's been doing that for like 20 years, at least. 20, 30 years, maybe? Yeah, James Earl Jones. And now CNN thinks they need to weigh in on behalf of what it considers to be, the quiet fandom? Is that what it is? The silent majority? Star Wars should resist bowing to the force of its most vocal fans, says Brian Lowry. Brian, what are you looking at? The camera's right in front of you. Who's over to the left of you? Oh, the left of you. Got it. That's fine. We can deal with that. Star Wars, should they resist bowing to us? No, we want you all to bow to us. We are the Fandom Menace. Kathleen Kennedy, please curtsy to us and do what we say, because enough of this. Solo, Star Wars stories, new characters. Pansexual dong lover here, and then two dongs. That's great. Good job, guys. Disney and Lucasfilm are dealing with the first conspicuous, that's an interesting word. Let's define that. Attracting notice or attention, standing out so as to be clearly visible. All right, so it's obvious their humiliation is standing out so as to be clearly visible to the world. So all of fandom can see how Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Disney has been pantsed in front of the world. Pantsed. It's depressing. Yeah, conspicuous. Setback. So they're dealing with this conspicuous setback of their 5-year corporate marriage, as Solo, a Star Wars story, has fallen far short of the gargantuan box office expectations. It's a Star Wars movie. Of course their expectations should be gargantuan. Do I need to look that word up? It means big. While the studio ponders whether that requires adjusting course, a small, rebellious, and inordinately vocal quadrant of the fan community is delighting in and deriving an unfortunate message from those woes. Yes, it is an unfortunate message when Scott Mendelson over at Forbes thinks that all of this means that fandom doesn't want to see any more movies about white males. They don't need white males. Or others are just saying, people need more Star Wars movies with women in them. No, no, that's not the issue. We need movies with less far left-wing propaganda in them. I think that's actually a fortunate message, not an unfortunate one. I think that Disney will derive benefits from that fortunate message, and we would delight in that. We would. Scott Mendelson would not. Scott Mendelson just wants to smirk at us from his byline. Soilo delivered less than $30 million in its second weekend. That is humiliating. That is conspicuously humiliating. Plummeting by nearly 2/3 from its less than stellar opening, bringing its total just shy of $150 million. For a mere mortal movie, that would be just fine, but it's a pallid edition. Pallid. What does pallid mean? What does pallid mean? Should we look at that? Pallid. Of a person's face, pale, typically because of poor health. Feeble or insipid. Insipid means stupid. An utterly pallid and charmless character. Oh, look, here's some synonyms for that. Insipid, that means dumb, uninspired, colorless, uninteresting, unexciting, unimaginative, lifeless, spiritless, sterile, bland. Does this all sound like Star Wars to you? It does. It does. Pale, white, pasty, wan, colorless, anemic, washed out, peaked, whey-faced, ashen gray. whitish drained, sickly, sallow. Yeah, like death warmed over. Yeah, that's what these numbers are. That's what they are, and it is very, very sad. So yeah, bringing its total shy of just 150 million. That's terrible. But it's a pallid addition, remember, to the Star Wars universe, which has shattered box office records and routinely amassed huge returns. The subplot to that, and it's an odd one, comes from Star Wars fans who see Solo's underwhelming results as vindication. He's talking about us. A blow against the Disney empire and Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, reinforced by internet echo chambers, in the way intense political partisans find like-minded brethren online. They harbor what is almost certainly a magnified vision of their own numbers and how widely their passions are shared. Yeah, I think they're talking about Scott Mendelson. I think they're talking about Vox and Mashable. They're not talking about us. Our numbers are huge. Our fandom is gigantic. Their fandom is tiny. It's a tiny little PP like this. And I think I've told you about ours. As Vulture's Chris Lee noted in a piece back in February titled, "Why Do Some Star Wars Fans Want the Han Solo Movie to Flop?" It wasn't me. I wasn't here. I wasn't doing that then. But I came to realize that, yeah, the Han Solo movie did need to flop. This subset of fan base responded negatively, an understatement there, to The Last Jedi. That movie sucked. Stop pretending that like this is just that movie sucked on every single level. The most recent Star Wars sequel, and a call for Solo boycott to vent their displeasure. Well, some people did, yeah. Part of us wants this film to fail. Joe Vargas, host of the Angry Joe Show on YouTube, said at the time. I was thinking maybe if it does bad, Disney will be smarter with how they do these things in the future. They won't. They won't, because CNN is going to tell them to ignore everyone who was telling them that it's a good thing that this movie failed. So it won't. CNN believes in doubling down on stupidity. You've seen it time and time again on their own network. On their own network, they believe in doubling down, tripling down on stupidity. They have also lamented Disney's rapid expansion and strip mining of the galaxy George Lucas created. As writer Danny DePlacido put it in a Forbes commentary, I haven't read that. Solo is Hollywood at its most cynical, squeezing every last drop of blood from an iconic character. Full disclosure, my wife works for a division of Disney. Within this circle, Kennedy and directors like Last Jedi's Rian Johnson are accused of spoiling Star Wars and not uncommonly, quote-unquote, ruining my childhood. Oh my god. Never mind that Solo is actually pretty good. It isn't. It's terrible. Or that Lucas, with the name Jar Jar Binks alone, made his own contributions to marring their young adulthood. When the blood starts to boil, sobriety and perspective tend to be early casualties. This guy very well. Say what you want. This is so much improved over the garbage tier media that we normally read. The premise is completely wrong, but I appreciate the prose. It's snappy. I appreciate the vocabulary words. I think it's a good thing. It really paints a picture of the horror that Disney Lucasfilm currently finds itself in. It is really good. He's giving them bad advice, and he's denigrating people who are trying to help them, but he's doing it well. He's doing it very artistically. Thank you. We got adults writing articles. We have adult men. Brian Lowry, who's looking off to look at him. What is it? What is it? Can you just look at cheese? Just say cheese. Do I need to? Brian, should I squeeze a little ducky in front of the camera? Look over here. Yeah, Brian is actually pretty good. I am impressed with this article. Very impressed. Yeah, it isn't good, though. It isn't good. As Vulture noted, there is no real way to quantify how vast this portion of the Star Wars fan universe is. 56,000 subscribers so far. That's mine. I mean, there's also Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers. There's World Class Bullshitters. There's Mindless Entertainment. That's our little crew. I'm sure there are others. There's Mauler. other guys that I've come into contact with. It's pretty big. I mean, the fandom that is upset at the way Star Wars is being handled by Disney Lucasfilm is fairly large. I would say it's probably the majority. And if it's not the majority, it certainly is enough of us to really beat the hell out of your box office. So maybe you need to pay attention to Daddy's belt. Maybe you need to. Indeed, with so many moving parts and variables to consider, it's difficult to grasp any clear message yet from Solo's underperformance, which of course hasn't deterred the deluge of web traffic-driven hot takes trying to do just that. Let me tell you something. We know. We've been following this story, Brian. You haven't. You haven't been following the story. We have. We saw this coming down the pike. We knew this was going to happen, and it has happened, and now you're acting like it's out of the blue. Yeah. Disney Lucasfilm, meanwhile, have little incentive to do anything but be respectful in addressing their most faithful consumers. Respectful. Respectful. Do you hear that, Pablo Hidalgo? Do you hear that? Do you hear that, Chuck Wendig? Do you hear that, Kathleen Kennedy? Do you? I don't think you hear that. Do you hear that dude who's married to Buffy the Vampire Slayer for some reason? Is he married to her still? I think he is. What a tool. Yeah. That said, there's a slightly delusional quality to the victory lap being taken in the comments section and online forums, an assumption that these fans have made a statement that will only further embolden such demands. It is delusional. Why? How dare we think that Disney would listen to us? Why would we think that? Why would we ever think that Disney would ever change course just because we tell them to, and because we just handed them a $200 million at least loss on a Star Wars movie, the very first Star Wars bomb? Why listen to us? What do we know? What do we know? We must be delusional. We're insane in the membrane. It is certainly possible that disappointment surrounding The Last Jedi, a sentiment incidentally largely shared by this review. Who cares? Who cares what you think? Look what you're saying now. Triggered a backlash that played a major role in Solo's weak opening. But it's beyond naive to think a subsection of fans can dictate Disney's broader strategy. Since the studio didn't plunk down $4 billion for Lucasfilm to let it sit idle, or allow a small mob with internet pitchforks to call the shots. Jackass, we're just telling them, stop putting politics in your stupid Star Wars movies. Stop it with the leftism. Start respecting the characters. If you're going to use them, if you're going to use Luke Skywalker, please stop treating him poorly. Please stop embarrassing and humiliating the characters from the original trilogy. That's all. Just stop it. Stop with the identity politics. Stop with the goofy liberalism. Just stop with the far leftism in these movies. That's it. Or continue to do this. Continue to go down the same road. And you will continue to write articles like this, shaking your fist at us and saying, you're not going to change us. That's fine. We'll move on. We'll move on to something else. We'll move on to the Marvel movies. I'll talk about the MCU movies all day long. That should be nice. As politicians have discovered, there are trade-offs involved in allowing the loudest and most belligerent. I am not belligerent. I'm very calm. I'm rational. I'm reasonable. I'm giving good advice. I'm pointing out idiots. I'm pointing them out like this. I'm pointing out idiots. And people agree. People agree with me, and people agree with others who are sharing similar messages. We're not belligerent. We're just kind of like, yeah. And by the way, how loud is my voice? Soft. It's soft. I speak softly and carry a big stick. Well, it's not that big. Those prone to speaking in Sith-like abs. I hate when they do this. Yeah, you're a real Star Wars fan. To define the terms of debate, hearing and being sensitive to what various fans wants makes sense. It does. But bowing, curtsying. We want you all to curtsy. I want Ryan Johnson to curtsy before us. Oh my God. Bowing to the force of a vocal contingent, one that's perhaps a small minority. What does my skin color have to do with any of this? Yeah, why do you have to point out that we're minorities? Terrible, racist, is a road fraught with peril. As Han Solo once himself said, it's not always possible to fly by committee. This was a stupid article, but it was well written. Brian, hey, listen. You're giving him bad advice. You're giving him bad advice. They need to listen to the fans. It's not, the small minority that you're talking, or the majority that you're talking about that isn't complaining. They just don't care to complain. But they're not going to the movies. They're not going, as you can see. The majority are people, or the minority that you're talking about, are the people that care enough to say something. When you walk around with something in your teeth, most people, I'd say about 1 out of 25 people is going to let you know. Most people are just going to look and be quiet. That doesn't make them right. The one guy who's going to say, Brian, it looks stupid that you're looking off to the left in your picture. After 1 million people have seen this picture of you, I'm the guy who's going to say, Brian, it looks stupid that you're looking over there. Look me right in the eye like Scott Mendelson. You don't have to smirk like him, but look me right in the eye. I want to connect with you. Why? You're like a child that's done something wrong, and you won't make eye contact with me. How can I trust you? I'm the one who's going to tell you that. And the fact that I am one person who is telling you that does not mean that my advice to you, my words are invalid or kooky, or anything like that. They're not belligerent. I'm just being honest with you. We are being honest with Disney. We're being honest with Disney Star Wars. We do want to spend money on Star Wars stuff. We can't right now because it sucks. And that is us being helpful. You are not being helpful. You are saying just stay the course. Stay the course. Maybe you'll find a new audience. They won't. They won't find a new audience. If they do what you say, Brian, they will perish. Hello, potential Indiegogo backers. Hello, friends. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I'm a comic book creator who worked for 20 years for Marvel and DC Comics on books like Green Lantern, Flash, Superman, Batman, and X-Men. But before that, I had a comic book called Cyberfrog. Now, Cyberfrog lasted from 1993 to 1998, and then it stopped when I went to go work for DC Comics. Now I want to tell the story of where Cyberfrog has been for the last 20 years. I want to write, pencil, ink a book called Cyberfrog Blood Honey that tells the story of gigantic alien hornets that come to Earth and conquer it, sending Cyberfrog into deep hibernation, where he emerges now in the year 2018 into a completely alternate reality, a new world where these hornets have taken over, devastated humanity, using human skin to make gigantic wasp hives, and harvesting human blood to make honey to feed their young. Very few humans still exist. But it's up to Cyberfrog to save what's left of humanity and turn back the damage that's been done by these wasps with his brother Salamandroid and his friend Heather Swain. I want you to help me do this. We're going to get colors by Kyle Ritter. He's a fantastic colorist, and he's going to make this book sing. I'd like this to be a 48-page one-shot prestige format, part 1 of 4. So I'm asking you to help me launch the very first Cyberfrog Blood Honey epic graphic novel. Are you in? Will you help me? I hope so. Let's get this frog jumping again. Big thank you to everyone who supports this channel. Click like if you like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this content. Make sure that you're still subscribed if you subscribed before. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people without their permission. Click the bell for notifications. Thank you for the people who buy my t-shirts. Do appreciate you. Thank you for people who are supporting the Cyberfrog Blood Honey Indiegogo. Thanks to people who have pledged to my Patreon. These are your names scrolling up the screen. We're going to make a new thank you screen probably tomorrow. And I want to thank everyone who sends me super chats during my live streams, attends my live streams. The channel just keeps growing and growing, and I owe it all to you. I wake up every day with joy and gratitude in my heart. Thanks.